The Elorians, an ancient alien civilization renowned for their longevity and advanced technology, detected unusual signals from a distant planet called Earth. Concerned yet curious, they sent a delegation to investigate and potentially extend the hand of friendship. Leading the mission was Arvak, an experienced Elorian diplomat who valued peace above all. Upon entering Earth's orbit, Arvak convened his first meeting with his crew on their approach strategy. "We must tread carefully," Arvak advised, standing before a holographic image of Earth spinning slowly. "Humans are known for their unpredictability. Our goal is to establish a dialogue, not provoke a confrontation." His second-in-command, Telnor, a man of few words but deep insight, nodded. "We've observed their transmissions. They are a divided species but capable of great technological leaps. Caution will serve us well." As their sleek ship descended into the Earth's atmosphere, hidden from human eyes by advanced cloaking technology, Arvak initiated contact with Earth's leaders. John Harris, a former military strategist turned diplomat, was chosen to meet the alien visitors. The meeting place was a secluded desert area in Nevada, far from prying eyes. John arrived first, accompanied by Dr. Elias Miles, an expert in exobiology and a key advisor. "Remember, John, keep an open mind," Dr. Miles said as they awaited the Elorians' arrival. "This could change everything we know about life in the universe." John adjusted his jacket, his gaze fixed on the horizon. "I just hope they come in peace, Elias." Suddenly the air shimmered, and Arvak's ship materialized before them. The ramp descended, and Arvak stepped onto Earth soil, flanked by Telnor and two other Elorians. John stepped forward, extending a hand, a gesture he hoped would be understood as peaceful. "Welcome to Earth," John said. "I'm John Harris, and this is Dr. Elias Miles." Arvak accepted the handshake, his expression unreadable. "I am Arvak, and this is Telnor. We come in peace and hope to learn about each other as allies, not adversaries." John nodded, leading the group to a nearby setup of tables and chairs for their discussion. "Let's talk then, we have much to discuss." As they sat, Arvak began. "Our civilization has thrived for millennia. We believe in sharing knowledge and fostering diplomatic relations. What can you tell us about humanity's intentions?" John exchanged a glance with Dr. Miles before responding. "Humanity is diverse and complex. We have our conflicts, but many of us strive for a peaceful existence. What brought you to Earth?" "Our scans detected rapid advancements in your technology," Telnor interjected. "We were intrigued but also concerned. Your species has a history of war and conquest." John sighed. "It's true, but it's also true that we're trying to do better. What do you hope to achieve from this meeting?" Arvak leaned in, his eyes locked on John's. "Understanding above all. We seek to understand your people to ensure that your growth does not become a threat to the cosmos." The conversation deepened, with both sides cautiously probing the other's intentions and capabilities. Dr. Miles shared insights into human biology and culture, while Arvak and Telnor explained Elorian technology and their philosophy of harm avoidance. As the sun set, the initial tension gave way to a cautious optimism. Both parties realized that while the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, this first meeting could mark the beginning of a significant chapter in the history of both their races. John stood, offering his hand again to Arvak. "Let's keep this dialogue open. We have much to learn from each other." Arvak clasped his hand, nodding. "Indeed, John Harris. Let this be the start of a fruitful relationship." As the Elorians returned to their ship, John and Dr. Miles watched them vanish into the night sky. "Elias, do you think we can trust them?" John asked, his voice low. "I believe we must, John," Dr. Miles replied, "for the sake of both our worlds." In the wake of their initial meeting, Arvak extended an invitation to John Harris and Dr. Elias Miles to visit the Elorian homeworld, hoping to deepen the understanding between their races. Intrigued and cautious, John accepted, aware that the future of Earth might hinge on the relationships formed during this visit. The journey through space was an eye-opener for both John and Elias. As their ship coursed through the stars at unimaginable speeds, Arvak took the opportunity to introduce more of his culture and technology. "Eloria is centuries ahead of Earth in terms of technology," Arvak explained, showing them a holographic display of his planet's sprawling cities and vast green landscapes. "We've eradicated disease, poverty, and war through our advancements." Elias, always the scientist, was fascinated. "Your medical technology must be extraordinary. Earth could benefit greatly from such advancements." John, however, remained focused on the diplomatic implications. "And what do you expect in return, Arvak?" Arvak's response was measured. "We seek partners in the cosmos, not vassals. We believe Earth has potential." Upon arriving at Eloria, the humans were struck by the harmonious integration of nature and technology. Buildings that spiraled elegantly into the sky were surrounded by lush gardens, and the air was crisp and clean, a stark contrast to many of Earth's polluted cities. Their first meeting with the Elorian Council was scheduled shortly after their arrival. The council chamber was a vast, circular room with a transparent dome that displayed the cosmos above. The Elorian leaders, serene and composed, greeted them warmly. John took the lead in the discussions, expressing humanity's desire to maintain independence while exploring a partnership. "We value our sovereignty as much as we value new friendships. It's essential that our relationship is built on mutual respect." A council member, Velen, responded with a gentle nod. "We understand your concerns, John Harris. Eloria has no interest in dominating your world. We wish to share knowledge and learn from each other." As the meetings progressed, Arvak arranged for John and Elias to tour a Elorian medical facility. Here, Elias's enthusiasm was palpable as he witnessed the advanced Elorian technology capable of regenerating damaged tissue and curing diseases thought incurable on Earth. "It's miraculous," Elias whispered to John as they watched a demonstration. "Think of how many lives could be saved." John agreed, but his strategic mind pondered the geopolitical shifts that such technology could precipitate back home. "It's not just about saving lives, Elias. It's about who holds the power to decide who lives and who dies." Meanwhile, cultural exchanges were arranged to foster better understanding. John attended a Elorian art exhibit where the expressions of immortality and peace in their art made him reflect on humanity's often tumultuous history. That evening, over a dinner featuring exotic dishes from across the galaxy, John discussed his observations with Arvak. "Your people have built something beautiful here, Arvak, but I worry that Earth isn't ready for this. Our differences are vast." Arvak listened intently, his eyes thoughtful. "It is a challenge indeed. But remember, John, all civilizations evolve. Yours is no different. This is an opportunity for growth, for both our peoples." As the night drew to a close, John found himself at a balcony overlooking a Elorian cityscape, Elias beside him. They watched the traffic of flying vehicles and the gentle glow of the city lights. "Do you think we can make this work, Elias?" John asked, a note of hope mixed with apprehension in his voice. "We have to," Elias replied. "Not just for us, but for the future of Earth. We'll find common ground, John. We must." Their conversation drifted into the night under the alien stars as both men considered the monumental task ahead. Back on Earth, as John and Elias wrapped up their visit to Eloria, a catastrophic misunderstanding unraveled the fragile peace. News arrived that a human militant group had launched a surprise attack on a Elorian observation satellite, mistaking it for a covert military outpost. The incident resulted in critical damages and several Elorian casualties. Arvak's calm demeanor cracked with the news. He confronted John and Elias in a secure meeting room. "This act of aggression was unprovoked," Arvak stated, his voice tense. "Our satellite was part of a civilian project aimed at studying cosmic phenomena. We fear this might escalate into a larger conflict." John, equally frustrated, replied, "These attackers do not represent Earth's governments or its people, Arvak. They are extremists, acting out of fear and ignorance. We must handle this delicately to prevent a full-scale war." Recognizing the gravity of the situation, Arvak agreed to withhold military retaliation temporarily. "I will take your words at face value, John. We need to act swiftly to de-escalate and show both our peoples that peace is still our priority." Upon their urgent return to Earth, John, Elias, and Arvak convened an emergency session with top global leaders and diplomats. In a secure, undisclosed location, they discussed the volatile situation. John laid out the stakes clearly. "We're on the brink of interstellar conflict, something none of us can afford. We must unite to address this threat internally and communicate our stance of peace to the Elorians." Dr. Elias Miles proposed a joint statement of peace and a cooperative investigation into the attack, emphasizing transparency and accountability. "We need to show the Elorians and our own people that we stand against such violence. We must protect our future." Arvak, representing the Elorian perspective, added, "My people demand justice, but we also crave stability. Let's use this incident as a cornerstone for a stronger, more resilient alliance. We need to educate our populations about each other to combat fear and prejudice. The leaders agreed to a plan involving increased security measures for all extraterrestrial operations, joint human-Ilorian peace rallies, and a media campaign to highlight the benefits of their burgeoning relationship. Meanwhile, John reached out to his old military contacts to track down the extremist group responsible for the attack. His friend, Colonel Mitchell, provided crucial intelligence. "We've got leads on the group's location," Mitchell reported. "They're hiding in a remote base in the Nevada desert. We can contain them, John, but it'll need to be a precise operation to avoid further bloodshed." John weighed his options and then made a decisive call. "Set up the operation, Mitchell. We need to shut them down before they cause any more damage. But keep it quiet and controlled. We can't afford more hostility." As military forces quietly surrounded the extremists' base, John and Arvak prepared a joint broadcast to the world, appealing for calm and unity. Their message emphasized shared goals and the potential benefits of human-Ilorian cooperation, which could lead to technological advancements and greater understanding of the universe. As the broadcast concluded, John turned to Arvak. "We're navigating through troubled waters, my friend, but I believe we can reach the shore together." Arvak nodded, appreciative of John's efforts. "Today, we've taken a crucial step back from the brink. Let's continue working to build trust and ensure this is the last of such misunderstandings." The crisis had barely been diffused when another challenge loomed on the horizon. Despite the swift action to contain the extremist group and the global broadcast calling for peace, a faction within the Ilorian government, skeptical of human intentions, demanded further assurances. These hardliners pushed for a demonstration of Earth's commitment to peace through tangible actions, not just words. John and Arvak convened once again, this time in a high-security facility in Switzerland, to brainstorm a path forward. Amidst the tension, John proposed a bold plan. "Let's launch a joint mission. We'll go to the location of the original satellite attack, retrieve the black box, and investigate together. It will show unity and transparency." Arvak, though hesitant, recognized the potential to sway his people's opinion. "It could work, John. Demonstrating our cooperation publicly and scientifically might convince the doubters on Iloria." With the plan set, John and Arvak assembled a diverse team of human and Ilorian experts and set out for the debris field in orbit around Earth. The mission was fraught with risk. Not only was the debris field dense and dangerous, but the political stakes were incredibly high. As their ship maneuvered through the scattered remnants of the satellite, Dr. Miles, who was part of the mission team, pointed out, "Each piece of debris here is a reminder of how fragile peace can be." The team managed to locate the black box, but just as they prepared to retrieve it, an alarm sounded. Another ship was approaching. It was a rogue faction from Earth, intent on sabotaging the mission to fuel further discord. John immediately took charge, coordinating with Arvak to form a defensive strategy. "We need to protect the retrieval team at all costs. Let's show that we stand united against any force that seeks to divide us." The ensuing confrontation was tense, with John and Arvak working seamlessly to outmaneuver the rogue ship. Using non-lethal tactics, they managed to disable the attacker's engines, allowing an international peacekeeping force to take them into custody. With the threat neutralized, the team successfully recovered the black box. The data it contained was vital, revealing that the satellite had indeed been unarmed and purely scientific, just as the Ilorians had claimed. Upon their return to Earth, John and Arvak presented their findings at a joint press conference. They stood side by side, displaying the recovered black box and detailing the mission. The transparency and successful cooperation went a long way in quelling the doubts and fears on both sides. This mission wasn't just about retrieving a piece of technology, John told the gathered reporters. It was about retrieving trust, about proving that we can work through our misunderstandings together. Arvak added, "The unity and bravery shown by our joint team today should be a beacon. Forgive me, a shining example for all our people. We face common challenges in the cosmos, and only together can we overcome them." The successful mission marked a turning point. The hardliners on Yloria were pacified, if not entirely convinced, and the rogue human faction's failure discouraged further unilateral actions. John and Arvak's efforts had not only averted a potential war, but also strengthened the bonds between humans and Ilorians. The future looked hopeful. The seeds of a lasting partnership, watered by the joint efforts of peace and cooperation, began to sprout, promising a brighter future for both civilizations. Following the successful resolution of the satellite incident, the goodwill between Earth and Eloria grew stronger. Yet, beneath this surface of burgeoning trust, an ancient secret of the Elorians threatened to disrupt the peace. Arvak revealed to John that the Elorians had discovered an artifact millennia ago, known as the Eternity Matrix, which held the key to their longevity and technological advancement. Arvak extended an invitation to John and Dr. Miles to visit a secluded Ilorian temple, where the artifact was kept under strict guard. He believed that sharing this secret with Earth could solidify their alliance. "This is our most guarded secret, John. I hope that in showing this to you, it will remove any last vestiges of doubt about our intentions," Arvak explained as their ship approached the temple. Located on a remote planetoid, the temple was a marvel of Elorian architecture, blending seamlessly into the surrounding rocky landscape. Its entrance was adorned with intricate carvings depicting the Elorians' journey through the stars. Inside the temple, the atmosphere was charged with a silent reverence. The chamber housing the Eternity Matrix was at its core, surrounded by bioluminescent walls that pulsed gently, illuminating the path. As they approached the artifact, its presence was almost palpable, a hum of energy that resonated with the very fabric of their beings. "This device," Arvak began, his voice echoing softly in the chamber, "is not just a tool, but a part of our heritage. It harnesses energies that we barely understand, even now. It's the reason we live for centuries and why our technology is so advanced." Elias, ever the scientist, was fascinated. "The potential for such technology is incredible. Imagine what we could achieve on Earth with this, eradicating disease, extending life." John, however, sensed the underlying responsibility such technology entailed. "But with great power comes great risk. How do you ensure it's not misused?" Arvak nodded solemnly. "That is why we guard it so closely. We've had our own dark periods where it was nearly exploited for selfish ends. We learned from those times." As they discussed the implications of the Matrix, an alarm suddenly sounded. The temple was under attack. A group of Elorian radicals who believed that sharing their secrets with humans would lead to their downfall had infiltrated the temple to seize the Matrix. The situation escalated quickly. John and Arvak, along with a small Elorian security team, moved to intercept the attackers. The corridors of the temple turned into a labyrinth of shadows and light as they engaged in a desperate attempt to protect the Matrix. During the skirmish, John demonstrated his tactical expertise, coordinating with Elorian forces to flank the radicals and use non-lethal measures to subdue them. The fight was intense, but the combined effort of humans and Elorians eventually repelled the attackers. After the conflict, standing among the echoes of the battle, John and Arvak discussed the ramifications. "We've seen today that not all threats come from outside," John observed. "Sometimes they're within, fueled by fear and misunderstanding." Arvak agreed, his expression grave. "This incident proves that our journey towards unity is not without its dangers, but it also shows that together we can overcome them." The experience left a profound impact on both parties. The Elorians realized the importance of transparency, not just with humans, but within their own ranks. For Earth, it was a stark reminder of the delicate balance between power and responsibility. As they departed the temple, the Eternity Matrix safely secured once more, John and Arvak felt a renewed commitment to their alliance. They understood that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges, but it was one they would navigate together, strengthened by the trials they had faced. The attack on the temple and the near miss with the Eternity Matrix exposed deep fissures within Elorian society, as well as the broader challenges of human-Elorian relations. John and Arvak, realizing the gravity of the situation, saw an urgent need to stabilize their alliance and prevent any further internal dissent that could threaten the peace process. Back on Earth, John faced political pressures from various nations intrigued by the possibilities of the Eternity Matrix. Leaders and diplomats were split between those who saw it as a means to revolutionize human existence and others who feared its potential for abuse. John, determined to keep his promise of responsibility and restraint, argued vehemently against exploiting the technology. "We've seen firsthand the dangers it can pose, not just physically, but ethically," John stated during a tense international assembly. "We must respect the Elorian stewardship of the Matrix and learn from their history of cautious use." Meanwhile, on Eloria, Arvak dealt with his own crisis. The radical faction that had attacked the temple represented a growing segment of the Elorian populace that believed immortality was their race's gift and curse, not to be shared with the more volatile humans. Arvak, in a bid to quell the unrest, proposed an open forum with his people, broadcasted across Eloria and Earth, to openly discuss the implications of sharing their technology. During the forum, Arvak addressed his people with a calm but firm resolve. "We must not let fear dictate our actions," he urged. "The humans have shown themselves to be capable of great wisdom and restraint. We must give our alliance a chance to mature." Back on Earth, John watched the forum with a team of advisors and scientists, including Dr. Miles, who had been instrumental in understanding the scientific implications of the Matrix. After the broadcast, they engaged in a roundtable discussion about their next steps, focusing on building trust and advancing their partnership cautiously. "The key here is mutual benefit," Dr. Miles suggested. "We need to develop joint projects that emphasize cooperation over technology exchange, space exploration initiatives perhaps, or shared scientific outposts." John agreed, seeing the wisdom in promoting collaborative efforts that would bring practical benefits without delving into the more controversial aspects of Elorian technology. "Let's propose a series of joint missions, starting with a research station on Mars. It's neutral territory, and a project with visible but non-threatening outcomes." As plans for the Mars station took shape, another urgent issue arose. Intelligence reports indicated that a splinter group from the radical Elorians was plotting to steal the Eternity Matrix and destroy the peace process by framing Earth for its theft. John and Arvak convened an emergency meeting to address the threat. "We need a joint task force," John proposed. "Elorians and humans working side by side to secure the Matrix and root out any radicals." Arvak agreed, seeing the necessity of such a measure not only for security, but also as a symbol of their strengthened alliance. "Let's do more than just secure the Matrix. Let's ensure that our peoples see this cooperation as the foundation of our future relations." The task force was a success, thwarting the plot and capturing the radicals before they could act. The operation was widely publicized, showcasing the effectiveness and unity of human and Elorian efforts. As tensions eased and the project on Mars began, John and Arvak met on the now peaceful Elorian temple grounds. Reflecting on their journey, they acknowledged the challenges ahead, but remained optimistic about the future. "This partnership," Arvak remarked, watching a Elorian sunset, "is still in its infancy, but today we've laid stronger, more honest foundations." John nodded, his eyes on the horizon. "And together we'll build on them, for the benefit of both our worlds." The stakes had never been higher as Earth and Eloria prepared for what could be the defining moment of their fragile alliance. Despite previous successes in foiling the radical Elorian faction's plot, the threat persisted, growing more desperate and dangerous. This faction, now calling themselves the Guardians of Eternity, believed that the Eternity Matrix was too sacred to share and that humanity's influence would ultimately corrupt their civilization. John and Arvak, having strengthened their bond through trials and tribulations, faced this new challenge with a determined, united front. Arvak received intelligence that the Guardians were amassing a significant force on a remote asteroid base, likely preparing for a major strike to seize the Matrix. Realizing the gravity of the threat, John proposed a preemptive strike. "We need to take them out before they can launch any attack. It's risky, but waiting could put both our worlds in jeopardy." Arvak agreed, albeit with reservations about the potential for loss on both sides. "Your tactical expertise has been invaluable, John. Let's plan this carefully. We need a strategy that minimizes casualties and ensures the safety of the Matrix." The planning was meticulous. John and Arvak assembled a special ops team comprised of elite human commandos and Elorian guards, all trained for zero-gravity combat and stealth operations. Their mission was to infiltrate the asteroid, neutralize the Guardians, and secure any intelligence related to their plans. As the team departed, the mood was tense. Each member understood the magnitude of their task and the impact their success, or failure, would have on the future of human-Elorian relations. The infiltration began under the cover of cosmic dust clouds, providing the team with the element of surprise. They entered the asteroid base through a scarcely guarded service hatch, a vulnerability discovered through intensive surveillance. Inside, they encountered resistance almost immediately. The Guardians, though fanatical, were not well-trained soldiers and relied on sheer numbers and fervor. John, leading the human contingent, coordinated their movements with precision, while Arvak directed the Elorians, ensuring the team remained unified in their approach. The battle was intense, with close-quarters combat that tested the mettle of every soldier. John found himself admiring the courage of the Elorians, who fought not just for the Matrix, but for their right to choose a peaceful future. As they reached the core of the asteroid where the Matrix was believed to be held, they faced a final stand from the Guardians. The leader, a charismatic and radical Elorian named Soran, confronted them, refusing to surrender. "You cannot stop the inevitable, Arvak. The Matrix must remain pure, untouched by human hands," Soran shouted, brandishing a weapon charged with volatile energy. Arvak, with John by his side, responded calmly. "Soran, peace is the only path forward. You must see that our survival depends on unity, not isolation." The standoff was tense, with both sides poised for what could be a devastating confrontation. However, through a combination of negotiation and tactical distraction, John and Arvak managed to subdue Soran without further violence. With the leader captured and their ranks broken, the remaining Guardians surrendered. The Matrix was secured, and more importantly, significant data was retrieved from the base, revealing extensive networks of like-minded extremists across Eloria. The aftermath saw a public trial of Soran and his key followers, broadcast across both worlds. Their rhetoric was exposed as fear-mongering, and the overwhelming public sentiment turned towards peace and cooperation. As they returned to Eloria, John and Arvak were hailed not just as heroes, but as harbingers of a new era. Their actions had not only averted a potential disaster, but had also paved the way for a deeper understanding and integration between their peoples. The chapter closed on a scene of John and Arvak overlooking a Elorian cityscape, reflecting on their journey. "We've come a long way, Arvak," John remarked. "Yes, and we have far to go still. But now we go together," Arvak replied, a sense of hopeful determination in his voice. In the wake of the decisive battle against the Guardians of Eternity, Earth and Eloria experienced a period of unprecedented peace and cooperation. The threat posed by the radical faction had united the two civilizations, forging a bond that was now celebrated across both worlds. The public trial and exposure of the Guardians' extremist views had a profound calming effect, and many Elorians who had been skeptical or fearful of humans now viewed them as indispensable allies. John and Arvak took this opportunity to establish more formal frameworks for collaboration, including cultural exchanges, shared scientific research programs, and joint military training exercises designed to prevent future threats. The success of these initiatives served as a testament to the potential of their united efforts. As they watched their work bear fruit, John invited Arvak to attend the inauguration of the first human Elorian cultural festival on Earth, a symbol of the enduring peace and mutual respect that had blossomed between their peoples. The festival was held in New York City, a bustling metropolis that had become a beacon of diversity and cooperation. Arvak, standing beside John in Central Park, marveled at the sights and sounds around him. Various stalls showcased Elorian arts, crafts, and cuisine alongside human offerings, creating a vibrant tapestry of interstellar culture. "This is incredible, John," Arvak said, his eyes taking in the colorful displays. "To think not long ago we were on the brink of war." John nodded, watching children, human and Elorian alike, playing together. "It shows what we can accomplish when we focus on what unites us rather than what divides us." The festival also served as a venue for announcing the next phase of their partnership, the establishment of a permanent joint space station named Unity Station, which would orbit a neutral planet and serve as a hub for further exploration and collaboration. As part of the festival's closing ceremony, John and Arvak delivered speeches to a gathered crowd of thousands, with millions more watching via live broadcast across both worlds. John spoke first, his voice resonant and clear. "Today, we stand together, not as humans or Elorians, but as citizens of the cosmos. Our journey has been fraught with challenges, but each obstacle has made our resolve stronger, our bonds tighter." Arvak followed, his tone equally impassioned. "The Unity Station will be a place where our young can learn from each other, where our scientists can collaborate, and where our diplomats can continue the vital work of peace. It is a symbol of our shared future." The speeches were met with thunderous applause, a sound that echoed the collective relief and hope of their audiences. The night ended with a spectacular display of lights in the sky, combining human fireworks with Elorian light sculptures, painting the heavens with symbols of their intertwined fate. Later, as the crowds dispersed, John and Arvak walked slowly through the now quiet park, reflecting on the path they had traveled. "We've built something that will last, Arvak," John said, his gaze on the stars twinkling above. Yes, John, we have, Arvak replied, a note of satisfaction in his voice. And it will be our legacy, a beacon for future generations, showing them that peace is not just possible but powerful. As they parted ways that night, with a firm handshake and a promise to meet again soon at Unity Station, the narrative closed on a note of enduring optimism. Humanity and Eloria, once poised on the edge of destruction, now looked forward to a horizon filled with shared adventures and the promise of a brighter future.